There is a new leveling system in Elden Ring's DLC, the Shadow of the Erdtree, and is focused around the new item, the Shadow Tree Fragments. Essentially, these items work similar to the golden seeds and the sacred tears that we had in the base game, where once you get enough you can use them at any site of grace to increase your blessing value, and every time that you increase this value, you will also be increasing the power of your character, as you'll be dealing more damage and have higher damage negation against everything in the Shadow of the Erdtree. In fact, to make the entire DLC so much easier for yourselves, there are 8 fragments you can pick up straight away without having to take on any bosses, so let me show you them right now. The first location is actually going to be the Church of Consultation, which if you hang right from the very first Site of Grace that you get, being the Gravesite Plane Site of Grace in this DLC, you will be able to basically walk down the hill into this church, and just past this guard is going to be 2 of those fragments sitting in front of the statue of Marika. But going from the original Site of Grace, if we head north up the road instead, you will come to the Scorched Ruins, and just to the right of the Site of Grace outside the Scorched Ruins, there is going to be a little culmination of shadow enemies, one of which is going to have a pot above his head and works similar to that of the Silver Scarabs in the base game, and again, defeating that particular shadow enemy, they will drop yet another fragment for you, and then after getting this one, we can simply again head north up to the 3-path cross Site of Grace, where we again can meet some NPCs and more importantly pick up yet another fragment. And then again, if we head west through that entrance, you will then come to the stairs leading to Bellarat, but again at the base of the stairs will be yet another Site of Grace with more NPCs residing nearby, and again you will be able to pick up yet another fragment. But then again, if we head back to the 3-path cross Site of Grace and head northeast over the massive bridge, you will then come to the castle front Site of Grace, and again just before you reach this Site of Grace there's going to be yet another statue, again kind of like in the middle of like this barracks area that we're in, and once again there's going to be some fragments there that you can pick up. But before you go into the actual castle itself to grab the last one, I do recommend that you take the right path, so head east towards the poison area that you can drop down to, but don't drop down into the poison area, stay above the level that you currently are and head towards the cross that you can see in the distance, because yet again at that cross will be another NPC and another fragment. And then, as I just hinted at a moment ago, there is one last fragment you can pick up inside Castle Ensis, and more specifically at the Castle Ensis checkpoint Site of Grace, there will be the final fragment that you can pick up without having to worry about taking on any tougher enemies in the game or any bosses at all. And the reason why I'm pointing this out to you guys is because when I live streamed this earlier today, we were of course struggling ourselves, and I also had a few comments in the live chat of people telling me that they were getting their butts absolutely kicked, and essentially by collecting all of the fragments that I have shown you, you are going to be able to increase your blessing value up to level 4. Now this isn't concrete information, but I believe every time that you level up your blessing value, the damage that you deal to enemies in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC increases by 5%, and you also have an increased damage negation, meaning you take less damage by 5% as well. So by getting it to +4, essentially the DLC becomes 20% easier, or at least anywhere between 15 to 20% easier, which straight off the bat is going to make life a lot easier for you, because as you're going to see in the example in the background, I took on Rolana at blessing level 1 and I was only doing 1800 damage or so with the Taker's Flame attack, and I know that particular attack got nerfed, which obviously didn't help, but even still, like I say, at blessing level 1 I was doing 1800 damage, but when I increased my blessing level to level 4 I was doing just above 2000 damage every time I used that Ash of War. So again, by increasing our blessing level 3 times, it looks like we're doing roughly around about 15% extra damage, so roughly about 5% extra each time you level up your blessing. I know it sounds like a minimal change, it is still very significant and can literally be the difference between being stuck on a boss for 100 attempts or doing it your first time round. So of course, once you've collected these fragments and start progressing through the DLC further, just make sure that you look out for churches that potentially have statues inside. Obviously look out for Miquella's crosses, as well as other enemies like the one I showed you earlier holding those pots above their head, because they essentially act like silver scarabs and can potentially drop fragments as well. I believe also the hippos, or like the weird like crocodile hippo things in the game, also drop fragments, but I haven't fought one yet, so I cannot verify that. So those are kind of like the 4 things you need to look out for. Just make sure you venture out, explore this new Shadow Realm in its fullest, and I'm sure you will pick up many fragments. But hopefully this has helped you out if you are struggling, like how we did in our live stream. And if this video does help you out in any way, be sure to hit that like button and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because of course we're covering absolutely everything, and we're going to be live streaming the full playthrough of the DLC, which will be happening Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday next week. Again, that will happen at 9:30 AM UK time until 12:30 PM. But other than the live streams, we're of course going to be covering all of the crazy new weapons and creating the best builds around them. So like I say, make sure you stay tuned on the channel. Hopefully this video has helped you out and cleared up how you actually use the new leveling system. But other than that, I hope you have fun playing the DLC, and I guess I'll catch you in the next video of whatever it is that we make. Bye bye.